Now, I
And
think
we are
the
now
biggest question is, what color will Toru Yano's hair be at Wrestle Kingdom?
well, that is the perfect question to begin this live stream.
Did you see that schmuck's dye job? Did you see what he did there? He even
Oh,
dyed his
man.
eyebrows. What the fuck?
Yeah, yeah.
What's going on with Toru Yano?
I spent more time in the Toru Yano match putting myself over in front of my friends, showing the picture of me and him, than I did actually watching that match. But
It's like,
yeah.
look, it's me and Toru Yano. Look.
Pay attention to me, damn it.
But what are we actually talking about today on this impromptu live stream, Crystal Fissure?
All right, we got one person watching. That's all we need. It's probably me. But yeah. So yeah, two people. All right, here we go. We're gonna start this like in about a minute or so because we're not gonna wait. This will be a VOD type video, I guess. You know what I mean? Let's yeah. All right. Before we start, I'm loving this. I'm getting into fights with people on YouTube. This is from a real scholar, a real WWE scholar here, saying that there has to be entertainment in wrestling. What's the fun if you're only watching matches like these every single fucking time? Where's the psychology? No story. Obviously referring to New Japan's just clear lack of storytelling that plagues the shows. You know,
I have never been emotionally invested in a single New Japan wrestling match.
No, it's impossible.
It's just a bunch of. It's just, as Dave Meltzer says, just a bunch of high spots.
Oh, yeah. Dave, all-time popular guy right now.
Hey, Conley, what do you think of Lucha Underground this week?
It was a show.
Yeah.
It was just a bunch of high spots. I don't know why Dave budges with this one. I gotta use my clout to just shit on him. Be like, Dave, listen, mate. Listen, fuckhead. All right. When I say that you need to put over my favorite wrestling show, or I will not be validated online. And then what am I going to do?
But isn't the wrestling program of the year NJPW on Access Television?
Yeah.
A glorified highlight.
Yeah.
How did that win the best television wrestling show of the
that
year?
just shows that Meltzer's, and I say Meltzer, really it's me. Their audience, like that audience is, and TNA will always win worst promotion, even though it never is. Almost in any year will it be the worst promotion. It can't
be worse than like Championship Wrestling from Hollywood or some like backwater like NWA promotion that sucks.
Yeah, don't you fucking dare shit on Tim Storm. You freaking heathen.
Did you see today of Tim Storm and Nick Aldis?
Magnus? Yeah.
Yeah.
Tim Storm won, didn't he?
I don't know. Did he win?
Yeah, Tim Storm's going over.
Tim Storm.
Apparently
he's a school teacher or something.
Don't fuck with Tim Storm. He's like 52. He's the oldest NWA champion. All right, let's do this. Let's start talking. All right, here we go. This is the countdown. Countdown to capture. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello everyone, Crystal Fissure here with Nintendo Gen 64, and if you're catching this right now, it means you're watching a live stream. If you're catching this later on, in the evening, in the night, in the morning, you're watching this on video on demand. Why am I reminding you? Why am I telling you this? I don't know. I'm just filling in words ready for Angus to speak. Welcome.
And speak I will, because Crystal Fissure, I have the distinct pleasure of being with you tonight where we discuss one of the most intriguing and, shall we say, game-changing announcements that New Japan has seen in quite some time. Yes, it's official. Chris Jericho, the legend himself, is going to be facing Kenny Omega for the United States Heavyweight Championship at Wrestle Kingdom 12. And what a match that's going to be. And what this means for New Japan is actually, I don't think we've fully unpacked the gravity of this situation. Yeah. What Chris Jericho basically defecting to New Japan really means for New Japan going forward.
100%, exactly. There's a lot to say. The way we're going to do it, so we'll talk about that first, like the Chris Jericho and sort of surrounding scenario and everything that's going on, and then we'll sort of like circle back and discuss Power Struggle and Wrestle Kingdom 12 and everything like that. So this will be a sizable discussion to say the least, but we might as well sort of go over what's happened. Basically, to cut a long story short-ish, there was a match on Power Struggle between Kenny Omega versus the newly debuting heavyweight Greg, or in other words, Trent Beretta. And after the match, the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega Kenny cut a promo, and he basically goaded for this switchblade, which was basically a gimmick that they had been running on video for a while. We're essentially expecting the switchblade to debut at that point. Nothing happened. They waited to the end of the promo, lights go out, you get this video package, you see these silhouettes, and then all of a sudden, Chris Jericho graces our television screens or laptop screens, and the place was just, it was a shocked gasp, and mixed with cheers, and then progressively got louder and louder and louder, especially as he announced his desire to face Kenny Omega at the Tokyo Dome, Wrestle Kingdom 12. People. Just from a reaction perspective, even just skipping over everything, this was just awesome. Just seeing the crowd get around it. Chris has always been popular in Japan. I know that they would always put him on those tours because they'd always put him against popular guys like Finn Balor, like Neville, and stuff like that, because the guy is always been over in Japan. And so this actually seeing them react and not be a literally who sort of thing was fantastic to see, if you ask me.
Oh, it was unreal, actually. It was surreal is the correct word to say, because first of all, this was a guy that you never expected to work for anyone except for Vince McMahon, because he literally said this himself many times, that he would, there's no point, right? He's there's no point working for anyone except Vince because it's the big leagues.
Yeah, that's right.
Then for him to show up and challenge arguably New Japan's maybe second or third hottest act, Kenny Omega, for a high-profile match at their biggest show of the year.
Definitely hottest international act, that's for sure.
Hottest international act. And Chris Jericho is, we were discussing this earlier, but he's below maybe Austin, Rock, and Hogan, maybe in that sort of high-tier echelon of recognizable stars. He's got
he's an A minus, definitely not B plus, A minus.
He's an A minus.
Even even A. I'd say Cena and that are that S rank A plus. Yeah, no, Jericho is undeniably top 10. Most important people in WWE history, I believe, or at least top 20.
Well, and not to mention, even people who don't watch wrestling at the moment, who used to watch or at least have a passing knowledge and know the name Chris Jericho. I was at work today and I said to one of the guys, "Oh yeah, I'm going to Wrestle Kingdom. It's this Japanese show. They just announced Chris Jericho is going to be there." And this guy's like, "Chris Jericho? I remember that guy. He was around when I was a kid and watched wrestling or whatever." And it's this means so much, I think, going forward as well, because. Just look at New Japan's history of big foreign stars coming over. I was actually going through Wikipedia today, and I was looking at their Intercontinental Championship tournament that they had in 2011 when they went over to America, and some of the stars they had, Charlie Haas, challenged Hiroshi Tanahashi. Now, no disrespect to Charlie Haas, but that was at the time that was their biggest draw from a American wrestling standpoint was Charlie Haas, right?
Yeah.
This is just I think a sign of how hot New Japan is, and the fact that Jericho is, he's a smart guy and he knows which trends to get on, and he knows how to reinvent himself, and he knows how to go ahead and make himself relevant. But also, I think this is helping out New Japan more than it's furthering his own needs, don't you think?
Exactly. Yeah, it is, because Chris Jericho, over 3 million followers on Twitter, has his own band that's actually charting. Is a recognizable name in WWE, and New Japan is not even close to the size of WWE from just a pure international standpoint. It's not. So this, in some people's eyes, is stepping down, so to speak, but the difference is that that's all about the perception that you have, and in many ways this is actually an upgrade, not in dimes drawn to be one of those guys, but in terms of what this actually means for the wrestling industry. Chris Jericho is someone that is actually pushing the envelope, and he simply has to be praised. You cannot fault this decision from any perspective at all. You know, whether you're Chris Jericho or New Japan or Kenny Omega, how this has been done and what will happen is nothing short of genius from all parties. And
yeah. It's one of the situations, isn't it, where it's something so monumental that you're surprised they kept it under wraps for so long.
Yeah.
Like nobody, it really expected him to be showing up here and challenging for
it's a complete swerve.
People expected, because Jericho's hosting this cruise next October. People thought this Twitter war that he and Kenny were having was this Twitter feud was to build a match on the cruise ship, right? Because everyone's like, oh well, Chris Jericho's a contracted guy with WWE. He's not going to work for anyone else. If he's going to wrestle Kenny, he's going to wrestle him on this boat thing that Jericho's doing. What a good, I guess, good timing that he was promoting this cruise and this Twitter war, because it completely deflected all people guessing that this was going to be what happened. People thought, oh, it's a cruise. No one thought it was Wrestle Kingdom. I didn't see any kind of like threads on Reddit or anything like that. The only thing I saw was Dave Meltzer did a thing on Twitter saying, Jericho's like a free agent. His contract is finished with WWE, but everyone pretty much knew that anyway. But no one thought he would wrestle for anyone except for WWE. So this is a huge shock.
That's right. And, essentially the Twitter feud, if you can even call it that, sort of, it wasn't that prolific. It went for like a week or so. And there was a point in the middle where Kenny basically said like, all right, that's enough. I'm not giving any more attention. And that's when people sort of thought, wait a minute, like this could be real. Like I was starting to think like, okay, maybe he is like, sort of like, okay, fuck off, like nothing. Because we were thinking, okay, there's no way they'd ever do a match. So it's like, what's the point? What's the point in caring? They're never going to do a match. So that's just stop. Like that's stop fantasy booking. And that's what everyone thought. They thought, okay, they may do a match, but it would be literally like 11 months away, in October, the next October on the boat. So what's the point? Let's not talk about it now. Let's do that. So actually having him appear, on the screen in New Japan, I don't think there would have been a very, very small percentage of people that actually thought that was going to happen at Power Struggle.
Oh, for sure. But I think the real like takeaway from this though is what is his, I guess, future plans for New Japan?
What does it mean? What does it mean for the future of him, the wrestling business, but also WWE as well? What does this say about them?
And Jericho's relationship. Well, purely we can only speculate at this point, but I do believe that this coinciding with the news the other week that New Japan had actually sold out its allotment for foreign ticket sales and had to open up new sections in Tokyo Dome, coupled with this Jericho announcement, I think we are going to see quite a good turnout this year.
I think
we were predicting maybe 5,000 to 10,000 more, but it could be even more than that this time.
I definitely think so. I mean, Jericho's a big name, and he's a big deal. And I think that in announcing this, you're going to just flat out get more people interested. You may even get like a lapsed WWE fan in Japan who doesn't follow New Japan going because it's like, oh my god, I can see Chris Jericho without leaving the country. You may get the very strange, there's a very small portion of these people, but like the WWE fans in Japan who don't actually watch New Japan go to the show to see arguably, one of their biggest stars. Because if you look at WWE presently, Jericho, in terms of name value, he really is actually in the top three. It's like John Cena, him, and like a Triple H, like in terms of pure name value. And then, Lesnar. But Lesnar's there so infrequently that he doesn't really even count. Like,
not to mention, he's coming off a very hot run that he had.
That's right. This has probably been his most acclaimed run again since, like, maybe 2007.
2008, I think.
2000, exactly. I think he debuted at the end of 2007, I think.
He did, and actually, I remember, this is how, like, because him showing up at this show marks almost 10 years to the day since he actually made his first return to WWE, because this is around the time I was actually getting into wrestling.
That's
I've
right.
been a wrestling fan for about 10 years now, on and off. And I watched that episode of Raw where he came back, and I had no idea who he was. Like,
Same.
my mum knew who he was somehow. She's like, "Oh, that's Chris Jericho." And I'm like, "Who is Chris Jericho?" And then he slowly became one of my favorites as I watched it over the course of 2008, 2009, when they had that whole program with Shawn Michaels, which was, a masterpiece in storytelling. And him coming to verse Kenny now at his current age is like 46, 47 years old. Kenny is a high work rate wrestler. People expect, he had a 6-star match, quote 6-star match from Dave Meltzer this year's Wrestle Kingdom, which you and I freaked out for when it happened.
Oh,
we were there
absolutely.
in person. We loved that match. And then
Fantastic match.
Everyone thought he was wrestling Kota Ibushi at this year's Wrestle Kingdom, which would have been a great match locally, and it would have been a very good match, maybe 5 stars, maybe 5.5 stars or something. But I think the bigger takeaway is him versus Jericho can be a great match because Jericho can still work. Maybe he's lost a step or so, but he can still work. And he's a recognizable star, and Kenny can carry him to a great match as well. So I don't think we have to worry about what kind of match we're going to get because these two guys can deliver. That's right. Chris Jericho is an excellent in-ring psychologist. Just watch any of his stuff from like this year, and I would say he's easily in the top 10% of workers on the WWE roster.
That's right, and exactly as you said, Kenny can handle the brunt of the stuff, but that's not to say that Jericho will be a slouch or anything like that. Absolutely not. There's a standard in Japan, and he knows that. I mean, he's had experience. He's worked for New Japan before. He's had stinker matches there before. He knows what it's like. He knows that the crowd can be a tough crowd, especially with Americans and gaijin, foreigners. So he knows what he's in for. Like, he's not coming into this and thinking, oh yeah, I'm just gonna like phone it in like a Raw house show or something like that. Like, he is going to bring. I think, considering who he's facing, it has the potential to be Chris Jericho's best ever match of the 2010s. Easy.
I can definitely see that, and I know Jericho said before that he'd like to have like a 5-star match. I don't know if he said ironically or unironically, but he'd like to have at least one 5-star match because he hasn't had one so far, and that means stuff to the wrestlers. Like, regardless of whether or not you think Dave Meltzer's like rating.
That's right, and that's what I find so funny. Is it like, you got all these fans trying to tell it? I mean, and like, yeah, you can take his opinion for what, but like, there's so many fans that try and say that, Dave's opinion is meaningless, and it's like, well, if the wrestlers themselves are taking, consideration from it and evaluating it, then you got to at least give it the credit that it is an informed opinion for the most part. Even though everyone has tastes and biases and stuff like that.
For a guy that's watched as much wrestling as he has, like, surely you can take some of what he says at like, it's not gospel, but at least it has. That's right. Yeah,
if he's rating something 5, it's got to be at least decent. Yeah.
I mean, it's all up to personal subjective opinion anyway. Like, it's not completely like objective. It's like, this is the best match ever.
No,
whatever. Hey, guys, people from my dad's generation might say that Flair Steamboat was the greatest match of all time, or Macho Man Steamboat at WrestleMania 3 or whatever. But like, we are in a golden age of like the renaissance of New Japan, and these Tokyo Dome shows, the matches that happen at Tokyo Dome shows are the best matches of the year. And
they pretty much are.
I don't think Gato would have. I don't think Jericho would have gone to Gato and arranged this if he didn't know that if he wasn't intending to put the work in to get himself up to speed so that he can go out there and put on
he's not going to put on he's not going to put on a fluff match when he's like going from a $1 billion company to $1 million company, like, to give credit to WWE, the size of them. He's not going to take probably less money than what Vince could offer him to then just have a normal match. Like, he's going there for the notoriety. Chris knows he, as you said before, he knows what's hot and what's not, and he's he's working with Ring of Honor for the cruise, for this Cruise of Jericho thing, which is going to have like a tournament there. The Young Bucks have been announced. I still think Kenny will be announced. In fact, I think there's very likely you end up getting some comedy sort of match between those two on the cruise. I could definitely see that happening. And where I sort of want to go with the discussion is talk about exactly what Chris Indie Taker Jericho actually means for wrestling, because I think that this is not a one and done. Put it that way. I do not think it's a one and done. And I don't think he would make a move like this for it to just be one and done.
Oh, definitely not. I mean, let's talk about this. We have to take the assumption that Vince and WWE knew nothing about his decision to do this, and this is entirely
that is apparently true as of today.
I can believe that. Maybe, like, people say Chris has a personal relationship with Vince or something. Whatever. If he does or he doesn't, it doesn't matter. This was a decision he made on his own, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, we don't know his motivations for doing this. Is it because Kenny asked him to and he decided to help Kenny out? Maybe. It could be for that.
Maybe.
Is it because Chris wants to be an egomaniac and have another, high-profile match at a big show? Maybe. I mean, that could be the case too. Or is probably the more likely situation that Chris is a lifelong wrestling fan, is getting to the point in his career where he's basically untouchable and can do whatever he wants.
Mm-hmm.
And he appreciates good wrestling, and he can see what New Japan's doing, and he wants to help with the expansion.
Yep.
And is the best person to do that, because regardless of, like you say John Cena's a higher name, maybe he is. Of the active wrestlers, and we talked about this earlier, of the active wrestlers, Chris Jericho, after maybe Triple H, maybe Brock Lesnar, second or third most known guy in active competition at the moment, right?
That's right. Yep.
So if his intention is to help out New Japan's American expansion, then I could see that being the case too, because I don't think he's the kind of guy who's gonna retire just that'd be it. Like the last WWE run was it, or this Wrestle Kingdom show, that'll be it. Like, he's a smart guy. He's essentially a businessman, entrepreneur at this point. So I could definitely see him having a few dates with New Japan and maybe even appearing at their Long Beach show in March.
Very much so.
I'm gonna say that we've known him to come to WWE and do these 6-month or 4-month or 5-month or 8-month stints in there. I think we might see the end of that, and he might start doing a similar thing with New Japan, because the New Japan dates line up way better with his with his rock band commitments.
Yeah, that's right.
He could work a King of Pro Wrestling or a Dominion or a New Beginning. Like, he doesn't have to work the G1 Climax, and I wouldn't expect him to work the G1 Climax. But you can see him having like matches, maybe an Intercontinental Championship match against
definitely
a Tanahashi or something like that.
I mean, Tanahashi's already been announced for Supercard of Honor, which is the show that they have now, sort of the WrestleMania weekend show, which new Ring of Honor popularized the whole like piggybacking off WWE for the Mania weekend, which I wouldn't even call piggybacking, because I mean, you got like 70,000-80,000 people, give or take, gonna be in the city for wrestling. You may as well be taking advantage of that. Like, people who compare WWE like running the same weekend in Dallas and stuff like that to try and take away their market, like with this whole Adam Cole, that whole thing they're doing like in like a week or so with like Adam Cole versus McIntyre for the title house show, and then like a guest appearance from Shawn Michaels. That's all to try and like undermine.
Yes.
That is completely different to running WrestleMania weekend. Like, completely different. Not even in the same stratosphere of like comparison. So, they're trying to do that. Like, I could just imagine what would happen, how easily it would sell out if you had a stateside Jericho versus Tanahashi, the ace of New Japan, the former ace, the one of the best of all time. Essentially, even though I think this comparison is frankly insulting to Tanahashi, but the John Cena of New Japan, right, against someone like Jericho, they would get 10,000. Like, I don't have a shadow in the doubt in my mind they could get 10K in that arena.
Oh, definitely not. No. Of course they would. Yeah, like that's the thing, isn't it? Jericho, he's the biggest draw of his rock band by far. Like, that's, I would say half the people who go there to see him.
Absolutely.
Maybe that's. I'm sure he thinks that people love the band. I mean, they're charting now, so maybe they are. But I think him as a guy, like, is just so well known.
He's got a new show coming out on TV, his new special. These are things like, and this is what Dave Meltzer's talked about. these are things that Chris, when you work for WWE, everything that you do is like vetoed and like under control, and like you can't do things without their permission. Hence why he would sign short contracts, because if, for example, someone like, let's say a TV show came up for Chris Jericho or something like that, and he's like, oh, I want to do this show, like blah, blah, blah. WWE would be like, oh, let's see if we can approve it and see if we can make our money on it. Or like the whole sponsorship debacle with CM Punk, like, oh, Brock Lesnar gets to use sponsors, why can't I? Oh, Slim Jims have contacted me from an ad. Oh, no, you want Sheamus, that kind of thing, like all that sort of stuff. That's why Chris Jericho never signs those full contracts, right? So it's really, really cool that he's done that, because that has essentially made this deal possible. And he now will have a fantastic year while still being, if he works for New Japan, still consistently being in the headlines. Arguably even more, because as big of a deal as Jericho is, the way WWE books anything, right? The way they book anything, eventually, no matter how hot the return, people cool off. Like, they just have this amazing ability of cooling people off. Like, I know that the Festival of Friendship stuff was good. I know that it was good. I will give it credit. Jimmy Jacobs, helping popularize the list and all that sort of stuff. But in this current era, you're not forcibly making me watch WWE if you tried. So Chris Jericho is not going to make me watch WWE again. That just because I know how it's booked, I know how formulaic the matches are, blah 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 blah. However, Chris Jericho appearing in a foreign promotion, right, that is going to make headlines anywhere, because it's a genuinely big deal. Because as you said, he is a Vince guy. He has been a Vince guy since 1999, right? Yep. 18 years, nearly 19 years. He is he's made comments, about like sort of, WWE and stuff like that being like his only home, how he'd never work for anyone else. And here he is. He's jumped. And what does that say when your biggest like non-special attraction draw, right, of the company can just leave and go to the second biggest company, and to use a term I use all the time now, essentially one gigantic signal boost. And they're right, Angus. It is a massive signal boost. Yeah, like, that's right. Just interest, search interest. Like, even in Japan, it's so funny if you type in Chris Jericho, right, and you look at, like, in Japan, it's just like 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 100. Just up, like, all the way that everyone is searching for him, like, even in Japanese and stuff like that. Like, it is going off in Japan.
Yes.
It's exciting.
Which is great for the guy, too, because I think this regardless of like if it's just one match or if it's a few matches or whatever, like in the coming weeks, the hype is going to get bigger. Yeah. The sneak around the match is going to get bigger.
Oh
this
my God.
does nothing but help Chris Jericho in the long run, in like his legacy, because
that's right.
This can set him over the top as like one of the greatest of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Like not just like wrestling WWE wise, but like of all time.
That's right. I agree, because like look at I mean, even another thing, I talk about his Twitter followers. That's great, but okay, Twitter's Twitter. Some numbers that are far more impressive is the amount of people that listen to the guy's podcast. And my God, have I never been anticipating a podcast more than this week. To see what he has to say about this. Because there he was on Twitter saying, I'm not interested in the little leagues. He's like completely working me, because you know how I feel about all that. I hate it when like people are like, oh, I was like, you fucker. Like, I knew it was like in jest, but when Kenny was sort of like, I'm stopping this now, I'm like, oh fuck, is Jericho just this much of a douche? Is he like brainwashed like Jim Ross is, And it's like, oh, nope, he's not. He's actually not. Like this.
Well, because we thought he was like a massive shill for the company. You and I like had talked about how like we liked the guy enough, but like we thought he was like a huge shill for the business.
That's right, 100%. And because the truth is, and that's not some kind of crazy like situation there. Like, that is the case for a majority of guys that work with WWE for a long time. Like Zack Ryder, right? Completely buried. Like completely just destroyed character. He would defend WWE before the end of his life. You know what I mean? It's the type of guy, unfortunately, that they are. Like, they hire people up much like the fan base, it's a cult. It is a cult. You know, Jim Ross, routinely bullied and harassed, you know, fired multiple times. And yet there he is, constantly defending them, constantly saying things while under the employ of Access and New Japan. Yeah, well, Kenny can't really be a big deal until he goes to the big leagues. He's literally said that. Like, he can't truly be great.
I hate that mentality. That's
fucking
disgusting. That's a bullshit mentality.
It is. It is absolutely ridiculous.
Doesn't it mean
mentality.
more, like... Okay, everyone agrees that WWE, right, is the brand, right? That's what you go to see. Like, they squash and cool off all their wrestlers so much. Like, the perfect example of this is Jinder Mahal as champion has done nothing to stop people watching WWE. Has done nothing to stop the show, like, the attendance or anything. Like, attendance hasn't gone down, like, a huge amount because of him, as a direct result of him. Viewership hasn't gone down as a direct result of him. Because it's WWE. People will watch it regardless. And that's the thing. People say, oh, why doesn't WWE make good booking decisions? Why don't they book this way? Why don't they do this? They would be making more money, you know, blah, blah, blah. Because the statistics show, right, that regardless of how much effort, creativity they put in, they do the same with or without good booking.
That's right.
That's a sad situation.
It is. I mean, the financial situation with WWE this year, like, they're really rather smartly cutting a lot of things, and then with their increasing television rights deal, they're actually able to you know, progress the idea that they are you know, progress the idea that they're making more and more money and stuff like that. But that's because they're trying to spend less and less and less and less. But the reality is, overall, is that yes, they can do whatever. They could literally have Vince McMahon take a shit on television for 3 hours and you'll still get people watching it. It does not matter what happens. Whereas New Japan, and for that matter, every other promotion on the planet is held under such more, scrutiny. You know, so basically by doing this, you know, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be critical of it, and they're going to be looking for reasons to say why Jericho, you know, is now an old timer, why he sucks, why the match wasn't 5-star, it might as well be as, you know, 2 stars, that kind of stuff. But I have no doubt they will deliver.
Yeah, I know. Me neither. I think it'll be an excellent match, and because I know. Like, Jericho knows the ring psychology. Like, he's been around that long that he knows how to put on a match like that. And I think we're going to see a very different match from him than we've been seeing for the last 16, 18 years. I think it's going to be more strong style than we're used to with him.
Oh, yeah.
And it's going to... because
snug strikes.
The Japanese wrestlers... the Japanese audience react to different things than the WWE audience do. We were talking about this before, where they... Say in WWE, in America... The pop will come when a wrestler's music hits, which essentially means people are reacting for the music. Yeah. In Japan, the pop comes, there's a few pops. 1, when the wrestler walks out on the entranceway, and 2, when they're announced by the Japanese ring announcer.
Yeah, that's right.
Those are the big popping points.
That's right. That's right.
The Japanese fans, they love it when wrestlers do clean breaks, put an opponent in the ring, you know, instead of like letting them get out and count it out.
They respect sportsmanship.
They respect the sportsmanship, right?
Yeah.
Now, what Jericho could do if he plays the heel is just disobey that stuff, and he knows how to do this because he wrestled in Japan for like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, with some of the best.
Just before he went to like ECW in like in '95 or something, he was in.
The last date he had in New Japan was, I believe, 1998. That was the final date he ever had before.
Yeah, and that was back when WCW and New Japan had a working relationship.
That's right.
Which is so weird. Actually, this is totally off topic, but. Like, did you know that Scott Norton, when he was IWGP champion, actually defended the title in WCW, which marks the actual first time that title was ever defended in the US.
Is that so? That makes sense. But wow,
Yuji Nagata on an episode of Nitro, and a match that went for like 4 minutes.
Wow.
Like that's
that's how far and that was in like they were making so much money at the time. They were selling out the Dome twice a year at that point. Like, that was crazy. That's another proof of quality. I mean, not so much New Japan's fault there, more than it is WCW, but it is kind of, it's funny. It proves that point about the whole argument with like quality. This is like a different topic entirely, but real quick, that, you know, the idea that just because something makes more money means it's subjectively better is the biggest crock of shit I've ever heard in my life, because I use this one all the time. But if you're going to say that like WWE is the best because they make the most money, then you're telling me that The Big Bang Theory is the funniest comedy on television. You're telling me that The Walking Dead is the best drama on television. You're saying Transformers is the best franchise on television, in the movie cinemas, you know, and in general. And that's not the case. Is McDonald's the best fast food joint because it's the most popular? No. So, you know, but you know, people know this. Like, people should know this. It's sort of common sense, but you'll find that people will argue that till the cows come home.
Yeah. I agree. It's asinine, but look, at the same time, I don't think I've ever been more excited for a wrestling show in my entire life.
Yeah.
And this Jericho Omega match is just the tip of the iceberg in terms of what we're seeing, because like we saw Power Struggle. Did you watch Power Struggle over the week?
Yes, yeah, I have seen Power Struggle. Yeah,
you did. So there are a few matches, an interesting result that came out of Power Struggle, which will lead into matches at Wrestle Kingdom, and I think maybe we'll segue into that. You know, the Jericho stuff is, you know, there was basically, you know, a 2-3 minute segment that got us talking. We'll see where this goes now, but fitting into Wrestle Kingdom, that's just one of the featured matches, and this show, I'm telling you, it's looking even better than our predictions that we made. You know, that prediction video we did a couple weeks ago.
That's right.
I think this show is actually, it's like fantasy booking to the nth degree, but I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just getting the card up here so I can just double check it with the results. Yeah, we won't really go through like all the matches that, like, all the spots and stuff like that, but just basically, yeah, the matches that you had dark match, Finlay defeating Kitamura in a cool little opener match, Young Bucks versus defeated Dragon Lee and Titan in a cool little match, which was going to set up something that happened later in the night. You had Kawato, Juice Robinson, Liger, Kushida, and Tiger Mask defeating Suzuki-gun, some of those lads from there, which was cool.
Kawato was on the winning team, which was bizarre, right?
Yeah, Kawato, yeah, that's right, yeah. Who? Oh, by the way, which the crowd loved, but you know, if you're watching New Japan, you don't even need to. I don't even need to say that. Like, it's
Kawato is fantastic. He's going to be one of the big stars of the future. Him and Kitamura are the guys, and maybe Oka as well. Those three guys.
I'm loving the young lions. And what was it? There was a guy who got injured about this time last year called Kanemitsu, who was also really, really good pretty early on. Like, he'd only had a few matches. He had a pretty serious injury. He's coming back. And we're forgetting, and this is like real brief because I'll talk about this maybe at the end, but World Tag Lead Henare is coming back. So that's fantastic.
Yes. Good for... very good night for New Zealanders.
Yeah, very good night. So then you had Tenkozy defeating, and Togi Makabe defeating the Bullet Club, so Chase, Cody, and Yujiro. Then
Chase still wants the pin in that, by the way.
That's right. Yep, chasing the pin. Roppongi 3K defeating Super 69. That's what the tag called, which is ACH and Ryusuke Taguchi. Chaos defeating Los Ingo Benables, which is cool. We get to see Okada versus Naito for a little bit there.
Yeah. Those two guys had a quite
good little segment. Yeah, I love that. I mean, I'm a big fan of that. Like, they do this every year, but I don't care. It's great because
it's a good taste actually, because they've been progressively getting more time in the ring every time, and that's a match, by the way. I think you know, the Jericho Omega for the time has overshadowed the main event, which is Naito versus Okada. But that's a match that really has had its build, and we're just waiting for the match now, because like that's pretty much. Arguably, I'm more interested in that match than the Omega Jericho match still. Like, I think
absolutely. From an in-ring and storytelling perspective, absolutely. Like as we said, Ibushi would be the better match. You know what I mean? Like if let's say it was Ibushi Omega, like, no one would be complaining. Like, no one would be complaining. It's just that and you know, I know that's so hilarious coming from me, because I'm one of the guys that's like so anti who gives a fuck about the spectacle thing. But in terms of the pure spectacle and like you know, marketability perspective, having this kind of super match, this kind of dream match, is important for a card like this if it needs to step up and be on that like WrestleMania tier in terms of like notoriety. And Jericho.
Well, it differentiates it too, doesn't it? Like it's going to be a different match.
It's going to be a different match, a different card, and it's also going to attract further wrestlers from other companies, big and small, to try and get their spot on a Wrestle Kingdom. So it's going to set a really exciting precedent. People complaining about like the whole part-timer thing, that doesn't really work in New Japan because the way their cards are done are different. So it's going to be awesome to see what's going to happen there.
Oh yeah.
So the other one, Roppongi 3K. Yeah, so Roppongi 3K, they won the finals of the 2007 Super Junior Tag Tournament. You still there? Hello? Hello? Is he gone? Am I gone? No, wait. Angus has disappeared. Oh, and the call's dropped. Shit. Okay, well let's let's see. Shall I keep going or shall I? So I'll try and call him back, see if hopefully he's connected. Maybe his internet just went out for a bit. Let's find out. Hello, Angus. The other thing, okay, before we get back to the call, Minoru Suzuki. Oh, there you go. He's back. Yep, all good.
I'm back.
Okay,
I don't know
cool.
what happened there.
Yeah, I think the call dropped. So yeah, I was just saying Minoru Suzuki defeating Toru Yano. Then this is where we start to talk about
let me talk about that match.
Okay, go ahead.
Jordan, my friend Jordan was devastated by that outcome.
Oh, Jordan.
That was the only match he watched because he doesn't really care about anyone except Yano, and he was upset.
Wait, so what was he doing for the rest of it then?
I think he was playing Monster Hunter.
On his PSP or something?
No, on the Wii, in that bedroom.
Okay.
The old Monster Hunter. But yeah, like he was upset about the outcome of that match. That was a good little match there, the Yano versus Suzuki. It got really good actually after the very near fall with Yano tying up Suzuki and everything. That's quite good. Yeah. Anyway, yes. Continue, please.
So, then, this was the shock result of the night. I did not expect this. I mean, now that I think about it, what it set up, okay, I can understand it, but far out, I did not expect Marty Scurll to defeat Will Ospreay in an excellent junior heavyweight championship match. It was
really, good. I didn't think it was. I thought it was actually maybe one of the weaker junior heavyweight title matches we've seen this year.
I mean, the standard has been very high. So.
Oh yeah, like I think the best one we saw was probably the Dominion match with Takahashi and Kushida. That was probably the best.
Yeah, that was fucking awesome.
Best junior one. Yeah. Or maybe, I was gonna say the best of the Super Juniors match.
I reckon. This will probably get 4.15. I reckon, or 4.25. Really good. Great. Great match.
I'm not the biggest Marty Scurll fan, unfortunately. He hasn't quite clicked for me in terms of what his USP is. Like what is his like? What am I meant to get invested with Marty Scurll? Because I know he's the villain, but he's just a generic bad guy. He hasn't really sold me yet on what makes him the villain.
No, that's actually been a bit of a complaint about him since joining the Bullet Club. That he's a little bit he's a bit goofy and not as villainous. As he is.
Don't get me started on that just kidding super kick thing. Ugh.
Oh,
I hate it.
I will always have a soft spot for Marty Scurll because he's the first indie main event I ever saw, which was Tommy End versus Marty Scurll for the Progress title. And he did that and the whole crowd loved it. So I loved it because I was just following what the crowd loved. I also cheered like a crazy man for Pastor William Eva, a guy I've never heard of, when he cashed in and beat him for the title. So yeah, I was I will always have a soft spot for that super kick, just kidding. But and I really do like his what was that fucking move, that sort of cradle thing he did, towards the end, where he sort of picks him up. It's almost like a pile driver sort of thing as well.
I like the finger break. I'm yet to figure out what makes the click.
Well, actually, I like it how the crowd they know what to do. That's another cool thing. They know how to react to that.
Oh yeah, how does he make that click sound? What is it? Is it his mouth or is he?
Yeah, I mean, because it's loud, isn't it? Like, you're right. How does
It's
he do it?
very. Yeah, how does he do it? I don't know. I'm asking you.
Yeah. So after that match, Kushida came out. I mean, so essentially it was like a roll-up finish, and it was disputed. Will Ospreay was, fuming. Kushida comes out like they're swearing.
Actually, I'll tell you what though. Yeah, Will Ospreay was feuding. It was meant to be like he got his shoulder, but it actually, if you watch the replay, it was actually a clean finish.
Yeah.
Because he didn't get his shoulder up.
Yeah. That was what's funny. Yeah, I sort of bought into it. And then I watched it back, and I'm like, wait a minute. Well, not really.
Well, I was watching they had the press conference yesterday, and Will Ospreay's like, oh, well, that was a, I would dispute that. How can you think you're being champion and you won in such a low key and like illegal manner and whatever he was saying? But it was actually it was fair and square, if you ask me.
Yeah, it was. So that was, he was pissed, in his mind, he was jilted here. And, but what was, quite cool was then you had, Kushida come out, words were had, things were starting to happen, and then Hiromu Takahashi came out in like a full getup, full getup basically to prevent himself from being like attacked in any form, which I thought was absolutely hilarious.
It was good. That got a massive reaction and a Hiromu chant as well.
It was awesome. And then it ended up being basically announced. They basically proposed that they do a fatal 4-way for Marty Scurll's new title at Wrestle Kingdom, which also got a good reaction. I know the more hardcore of New Japan's sort of smart sort of fans, they're not happy about this because, fuck multi-person matches apparently. But you know what? Like in a match like this, I have no problem with it. Like as cool as it would be, to do the whole, Kushida Takahashi match again, because they're always awesome matches. It is good to change it up. It is good to have different people in the match, and it will be a really good dynamic. And these guys all know each other well. That's a good thing. So it's going to be. There's not going to be a weak moment in that match. That's for sure. It's going to be high octane, really fun.
Well, we predicted a multi-man match for the junior title as well, which I'm quite happy about.
We did. We thought it would be a 3-way. I
didn't figure Marty Scurll into it at all.
No, but I'm happy with that. If it gets him on the card and he's doing something, I'm absolutely happy with that. But
by the way, I definitely don't think he's retaining.
No, not at all. But they could go for the swerve, so that's it. Yeah, I'm either way. I'm very excited about that. Then we had Omega versus Beretta, and I really enjoyed this match as well. Trent Beretta, he brought it.
Yes, very good match.
He knew that this was a big deal. And I'm glad, I'm glad that he brought his A game and did what he did. And don't worry, like he will be next year. I'm gonna say he'll be in the G1. That's
yes, I think
absolutely.
So. I think he'll probably replace like Yoshihashi or something like that.
Yeah. It's gonna be awesome. And then unfortunately, I didn't get to watch this match in full because I was driving home from where I was out at the time. But how was this? Hiroshi Tanahashi defeating Kota Ibushi.
Oh, that was a brilliant match actually, and I'll tell you why it was brilliant. Not just because the match was good, but they won the crowd back after the monumental Jericho announcement. Because, like me personally, I was a little bit like disinterested in the match, as well when it started. I was like, oh fuck this Jericho thing. I need to see what people are saying about this. Fuck this match, which I definitely shouldn't have done because it turned out to be a really, really, really good match. Really good spots actually. Near falls towards the end, kicking out of Ibushi's powerbomb got a big reaction.
I did see a lot of the early stuff and some stuff in the middle as well. I love the I will always react to the golden triangle moonsault. That was amazing, and that high fly flow as well was freaking a really fantastic. Cool sort of
pendulum, they call it like a pendulum German from like the outside of the ring to the inside, which looked really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I could describe it. It's like Ibushi was in the inside of the ring and German suplex Tanahashi over the top rope and back into the ring. It looked really cool.
Yeah,
it's a great spot. Really cool high fly flow. Really, there was a good spot actually where Ibushi missed his I guess he was doing a Phoenix Splash or something like that.
Yep.
And and then he was like down and lying on his back, and then Tanahashi got up and did the high fly flow. Then he did another high fly flow and pinned him for the win. And tremendous match. These two guys really got the crowd back on board, and it's good to see Ibushi sticking around as well. That is going to be
very much so. Yeah, this is not over.
It's going to be at Wrestle Kingdom against Cody Rhodes for the the Ring of Honor Championship.
Yep, the only singles match he could have got other than Omega. You know, in losing. So that's good. This is the best option. Some people are disappointed that it's against Cody, but it's a good thing if you want to see him in a singles match. Not as Tiger Mask against ACH, also in an uncomfortable mask, so they can't really have a fantastic match. So it's awesome. So after the match, and this is what's so funny, is because like if you're on Squared Circle, you were seeing all the announcement, Switchblade announcement, here's the Switchblade. And it was the link to the Jericho thing. And then like an hour later, 45 minutes later, all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, no, this is the real Switchblade. Like even you turned it off at that point.
Yeah, well, I watched. Okay, so after Tanahashi retained the, we should have said the match was for the IWGP Intercontinental Championship.
Yeah.
But once Tanahashi retained the title, he celebrated for like an eternity.
Yeah, the crowd. Doing, do you know why? The crowd were chanting something which translates to encore.
Yeah. Well, it was really good. It was a tremendous match. I don't blame them. And anyway, but so what happens is after he celebrated for so long, I just figured the show ended because he got the confetti thing, and I thought that was it, so I just turned off. But I missed, and I've since then gone back and watched it, the actual debut of the actual Switchblade, the returning Jay White.
Oh, you know, I fucking love this. I don't know, like maybe I'm just such a blind New Japan fan now that I just love everything, but fuck, I will say this, like if you actually listen to that, you've seen the segment, right?
I've seen the segment. The
pop he got, the initial pop, was actually bigger than Jericho's. Like the crowd were fucking pumped for this. Like I mean, that's the thing. These fans don't forget. Like they really don't forget. Like this guy, Jay White, had been away for over 500 days, you know, on excursion, right? He came out. He was over. You know, he was already over.
It was kind of over. I think it was quite quiet when he was in the ring with Tanahashi, and he didn't get quite the reaction I thought he would get when he laid him out with whatever that move is. But
yeah, but that was a heel move. So
it was a heel move. I think they thought maybe he was a face or something, but
he was definitely not a face. Switchblade is like, that's heelish, very heelish in nature. He's saying to, he's like, oh, this has always been the plan. We're always meant to meet. You know, I'm always going to take you out. Like, it was very heelish to me.
I'm going to have to watch some Jay White matches because at the moment, like, the idea intrigues me, but I'm not, like, super, super invested in the match. Like, I would have rather seen, like, an Ishii versus Tanahashi match or something like that. So, but look, honestly, I expect to be thoroughly surprised. But, like, I think of the three matches, it's the one I'm least interested in now.
Yeah. Yeah, I am...
like, Jay White intrigues me, and he's...
No, I'm hugely up on this because he is, you know, I've seen a few matches of his in Ring of Honor and stuff like that, and I remember watching him when he was a young lion, like a few matches here and there, like New Year Dash and a few other things, and I always preferred him to David Finlay, obviously, and not obviously, it's a bit harsh on David Finlay, but yeah. So this guy is very good. Like, I mean, Finn Balor, Prince Devitt, like picked him like 2 years into training or something like that, and told him to come to the dojo. So like he's been pretty you know, clued in to the business and has definitely been protected. Like you know, in Ring of Honor, like I believe at the New Japan show, like he had like 2 wins. You know, he you know, the America one, he had some really, you know, some top matches in Ring of Honor and stuff like that. And I mean, you could not get a bigger push, like, than to come in and face, you know, the ace that runs the place,
yeah,
at Wrestle Kingdom. And that's the thing. Like, some people are like, okay, I don't really know this guy. Should I be excited? I haven't seen his matches. Should I be excited? The answer is yes, because you speak about Jericho and having a good match with him. I mean, you got to think that the opportunity, like, this guy would not be an idiot. He would not be thinking like, oh, gee, it's the second or third top billing match at Wrestle Kingdom, even though I've been away for over a year. Gee, better just put on a decent match. He is going to work his fucking ass off. Like,
Oh, definitely.
I would go so far as to say that it could very, very easily be the second or third best match. I think in terms of pure work rate and everything like that, I don't think anything will top the main event. But I could easily see it be the second best match of the night. If provided that it gets to go to the level that it gets to go to, and I mean it's a Tanahashi semi-main main event.
Yeah, well, that's the question. What'll go on second to last, the US title match or this one?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna say it will be Jericho.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
I think it will be because they also really want to push the US title too. Especially, it's very interesting. I don't think it will matter depending on who wins, but I think it'll be the second to last match. I think it should as well, just to keep crowds interested, because of the fact that Tanahashi and Jay White is a lower key match in terms of, Jay is ultimately more unknown than Jericho and Omega together. So, and Tanahashi is old and stuff like that. So I can definitely see it being.
Keep the eyeballs on the show. Like, if people are tuning in for a Jericho, for Jericho, right? You want to put him on as late as possible so that people can watch for him.
That's right. This is why, again, going back to it, that why it's so important for New Japan is that it's gonna get all these fans. Yeah, it's gonna get all these fans. As you said, they're gonna be waiting for Jericho. But what the trick is the trick, and this is obvious in any form of marketing, is to make the rest of the show so good that these people that are initially tuning in for just Jericho end up becoming fans of the whole thing. That's what you want, right?
Yes.
You come over for the initial draw, the mainstream draw, so to speak, and then you end up staying because you love the rest of it. That's what they got to do.
Yeah.
And so having him in the second to last match is the best idea, because you're going to get a rundown, and you're actually going to get the way that a wrestling card arguably should be done, which is the least important matches trickled in with some titles and stuff like that, trickled in with some stuff in the middle, but overall you top end the show, you front load the show with the best matches towards the end, as opposed to the WWE formula of just having it all over the place, right?
Yeah.
You don't do that. That's not how you build a true sports card. That's not how you do it. Even entertainment. That's not even how you do entertainment. You do it. So, putting it second last, getting Jericho, getting people to wait, is going to be the best way to move fans forward.
Well, the WWE card is also WrestleMania has 4 main events now or something like that. Yeah. There is only one main event, and it is the match that closes the show.
Yeah. Yeah, and New Japan advertises other second match as the semi-main event. So they don't call it the semi-main event. It's still an important match, but it's called the semi-main event.
They call it the semi-final, actually.
Yeah, exactly, semi-final. Yeah, exactly, and that's fine. That's not denigrating the card. Whereas because there is only one main event, but so that's cool. But it's going to be very good. So we'll go. So let's have a look at the card. We've got. Let's see. Let me just let's go to Wrestle Kingdom 12. I'm just going to double check everything so I don't get anything wrong. All right. So what we've already listed: Jay White versus Switchblade versus Tanahashi. That will be probably third to last match. You've got Okada Naito, should be the main event, and that will stay the main event. Really, really cool. Looking forward to that. Then you have Chris Jericho, Kenny Omega, of course, for the United States Championship. You have Marty Scurll, Hiromu Takahashi, Kushida, and Will Ospreay for Fatal 4-Way for the... not Fatal 4-Way, that's a WWE term. 4-Way match for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight. You have...
Oh, yes, that'll be off the chart, that match.
Yeah, I mean, it will be. I mean, Will Ospreay, right? He's someone that... He didn't get a singles match last year. I remember you went to the fucking toilet while he was having all this thing. And I was like...
he was in there arguably for 30 seconds. So.
Yeah, exactly. And you got back with your fucking Tokyo Dome burger or something like that. And and you're like, oh, and I said, oh, like you've just missed Will Ospreay, and like Will had just done this 30-second sequence. It's just out of this world because it's Will Ospreay, and you were disappointed about that, but hopefully the burger was worth it. Then
it was not worth it.
Yeah, the Tokyo Dome burger, what a joke.
Although I will be having one again this year, so I can't.
I just want some premium burgers. I want give me some. What's that burger place we went to in Osaka called again?
Critter Burger.
Critterberg, yeah. Ship some of them down there. Then we have, this is very interesting, Cody versus Kota Ibushi for the Ring of Honor World Championship. Now, fangirls around the world are preparing to cry. I know someone in particular, a Finnish person that's like in the Discord for New Japan, who's a massive Ibushi fan. She's going to be very upset at probably the result of this match. But I could not think of a better way to elevate the Ring of Honor title than Cody to win. That said, I think I will shit my pants if Ibushi wins the Ring of Honor World title. I mean, that would just be.
I will
great.
eat the shit out of your pants if he wins that title.
Shit. Okay, that's a good.
Okay, maybe not.
That's a good deal. That's a good deal. Yeah, seriously, it's. No, I'm extremely excited for what potentially could happen there, but either way.
Well, I look at last year's match and it was like O'Reilly versus Adam Cole, which was good. It was okay, but like it was the piss break match, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I don't think this match will be the piss break match.
No.
This will be better than that match, I'll tell you that much.
No, that's right. And like, yeah, the thing is that with Cody, he is polarizing. Some people, they call him like the WWE style and stuff like that. But Kota Ibushi has had a good match with literally, a doll. He's had a good match with a doll, a blow-up doll. Like he can have a good match with anyone. He will have a good match with anyone. And he will have a good match with Cody Rhodes. And if you don't think he will at least have a good match, so I mean like 2.5 stars and above, then you just hate Cody and you don't want to hear anything. And I'm not even a big fan of Cody like as a wrestler. As a character, I actually really like him. I'm a big fan of him being the elite. I'm a big fan of what he does to bring that kind of WWE sort of style, promo sort of thing, like sort of bring that sort of style. He just needs to me, in my opinion, not that I'm some expert and you should listen to my advice. I do think that I do want him to be a bit better in the ring, do a bit more, unconventional non-WWE stuff, but he is good. He's fine.
And stop doing that drop down punch to the chin thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a classic WWE
I understand
spot.
He's like doing it as like a homage to Goldust, but please stop doing that.
Yeah, you tell him to stop emulating his father. I'm sure that'll go down very well.
Okay, if you want, come out in polka dots if you want to. That's fine by me, but don't do that. It wasn't a good move when Goldust did it, and your variation on it isn't any better. So stop doing it.
Oh, my variation on it.
No, not yours. I'm talking directly to Cody Rhodes here.
Okay, Cody, if you're listening, I'll just subtweet him. And then we have Roppongi 3K versus the Young Bucks. Now,
yes, we didn't even talk about this.
And you know what, Young Bucks. This being the elite, just New Japan's popularity, Young Bucks, people love to joke. Like a lot of the sort of the people that hate the Young Bucks are like, Young Bucks never get a reaction in Japan. Like no one gives a fuck about them. They got a pretty damn good reaction here when they came out to confront Shaw and Yo. Crowd was excited. They called them young boys. They were sort of mocking them. They're saying, how about we have a match? And this is going to be, again, fucking awesome. This is going to be...
Oh, yeah. I'm much happy. I mean, I don't know if this will be like the final match or if we'll add some other teams to this thing, but I'm very happy with Roppongi 3K versus Roppongi 3K versus the Young Bucks match.
Yeah.
I know that it's a hot match, and Shaw and Yo are really over now, considering they won the Super Junior Tag Tournament and the titles. They're really getting quite the push. So I'm quite excited for this match.
Yeah, me too. I'm just trying to actually look up and see if the Tempura Boys, who are Shaw and Yo, have they actually versed have they actually versed? Yeah, have they actually versed? Show and Ryo versed the Young Bucks, and I think they have, but not really with with a third team and stuff like that. So this is like going to be the first time they're going to have like a proper high profile title match together. So that's pretty exciting because they were they were in Ring of Honor, mostly doing jobs, for over, I think, over 500 days again. So these excursions, they're pretty long, but they're actually getting shorter and shorter now. You'll notice.
Yeah, yeah, is it right?
Slowly. Kitamura, he won't be gone for more than a year. You just know, there's no point.
They'll want to push him when he gets back,
there's no point. There's no point holding back. Yeah.
Oh, definitely not. Definitely not. But I think, I don't know. I think we've got the 6 matches looking pretty good for Wrestle Kingdom this year. I think this could shape up a better card than last year. Were there any other matches that we didn't mention?
So what do you think? What do you think that will be? What do you think based on the predictions we've made to the card? What you got any changes now that you think are more likely now that you know that the results? What is you've got any refined predictions?
I think we're gonna see KES versus Cobb and Elgin, maybe.
Fucking hell, that! My God.
I think
that'll be Jeff Cobb's biggest. That'll be Jeff Cobb's biggest crowd he'd wrestle in, ever by a mile. That'd be fantastic.
Well, I think it's interesting they're putting him with Michael Elgin because I think what that does, it aligns him with Elgin's style of wrestling as well. It gets the fans, used to what he can do, and I think his moveset and the way this guy wrestles is very much in line with what the Japanese audience expects.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Powerhouse guy who can deliver.
I mean, not just powerhouse though, but powerhouse that can flip.
Oh yeah,
powerhouse that can do a standing moon. So yeah, I mean, you look at how awesome people react to War Machine. This guy, to me, I'm biased because of my Lucha Underground love. I mean, he's even better. He's even better. He is just ridiculous. Speaking of Hanson and that, I'll quickly go through the World Tag League, G1 Tag League, which is running from November 18 to December 11.
Oh, hey, we'll be able to watch the first night when I'm in Melbourne with you.
Oh, you're right. Excellent. Cool. Yeah, go there before Soichi Terada and crew. So we've got the debuts of Chuck Taylor, Jeff Cobb, and Sami Callihan, who many people thought was going to be Switchblade. And I like this. I like this team, which I'll list off in a sec. I'm just reading from Wikipedia saying, this tournament featured a format change where several top wrestlers, including Hiroshi Tanahashi, Kazuchika Okada, Kenny Omega, Tetsuya Naito, who already had matches booked for Wrestle Kingdom 12, were left out of the tournament. So
very smart idea. Very
smart idea. Now, we could be saying that, and then it could draw terribly worse than last year. I am please, if you are a Japanese person and you're listening to this, which is clearly very likely, please go out and support this show because this is huge. Because these shows could essentially, in the future, be like the indie showcase month before, the cool down before the main matches, right? You get your guys to rest up a bit more. Obviously, they'll probably still be doing tags and stuff like that, but you get your guys to rest up for your main matches so you don't get injured. You can debut some new awesome people, get them over with the crowd in tag matches. And tag matches, New Japan love tag matches, so, that's great. There's a lot of positives about this, I think.
Oh yeah, I'm excited. I'm very excited for this.
So we'll go through the teams. Block A, we've got Balak Fale and Chase Owens, Evil and Sonata, Hangman Page and Yujiro Takahashi, Hiroki Goto and Yoshihashi, Hiroyoshi, Yoshihashi, Hiroyoshi Tenzan and Satoshi Kojima. We've got Juice Robinson and Sami Callihan. A very interesting. That's a cool team.
It's the NXT team.
That's hilarious. Yeah, you're right.
It's CJ Parker and Solomon Crow.
CJ Parker versus Solomon Crow. Wow.
Was that a match? I reckon that was a match.
That was Sami Callihan's debut match in NXT. Believe it or not. Remember, because Juice was just a jobber Juice. The J in CJ Parker was jobber. It was like Chris Jobber Parker.
Chris Jericho Parker.
And we got Manabu Nakanishi and Yuji Nagata.
Oh, yay! I can't wait to see that match.
Oh, Monster Mornings. That is going to be sick.
Why do they keep putting him in matches? Oh.
Oh my god! Oh god!
I fall asleep during Nakanishi matches now.
Oh, Blue Justice 7 wasn't doing it for you.
No, that match that was actually that could have been the worst.
That was fine. That was probably the what?
I was gonna say that was probably the worst show of the year.
Yeah, that wasn't a New Japan show though, really.
Yeah, wasn't it?
Nagata promotes it, I believe.
Oh. Right. Well, then he's a terrible promoter because no one wants to see Nakanishi.
And Minoru Suzuki and Takashi Iizuka. Block A, the weaker block by far.
Please show me Iizuka versus Nakanishi.
Yes, that would be fucking awesome.
I can't wait to see that.
Marking out, bro. No, okay, so that's the like overall not good block. Like I wouldn't say shit, but it's like the older block. Block B, you've got headlined by. Well, not headline because I think it's just in alphabetical order, but who cares? Beretta and Chuck Taylor, best friends. And the indie world just about died of happiness after this announcement because these guys are PWG.
But Andrew, where's my Leland Race and Brian Breaker? Is that their name?
That was last year, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Who are those guys?
What is it? Wait, Tag League. I'm gonna look that up real quick. That's right. Yeah, he was in there last year. Yeah, what the fuck? WLW. Yeah.
What's that for? What's it stand for?
Oh yeah, there they are. Yeah, Jesus, that's kind of cool. I don't know what it stands for though. I got no idea. Then we have Davey Boy Smith Jr. and Lance Archer, David Finlay and Kitamura.
Oh,
cool. Hanson and Raymond Rowe, War Machine.
Oh, good.
This is great. This is a cool team. This is so weird because this is where he injured himself. Hanade and Togi Makabe in a team.
Now,
that is weird.
I expect Hanare to do the Kakeshi headbutt at least once.
Yeah, 100%. He's going to be the new...
Honma.
Yeah, he's going to be the new Honma. Hanare.
Actually, I had a terrible thought that Honma was going to be Switchblade.
Oh
he was
my
going to his massive return.
Hilarious. He just does a blade job, like, because he used to be a hardcore wrestler. He just, like, cut his face open. Jeff Cobb and Michael Elgin. Matanza. He's out of his cage, boys. Lucha Underground continuity right here. He's out of his cage. He's broken out. Tamatonga and Tangaloa. Coming out of my cage.
Oh, wait, hold on. So, no. Do you see what they've done here? They've put War Machine, KES, and Girls of Destiny.
What the fuck? Yeah, what they should have done is switched, like, Hanson and... No. They should have switched Davey Boy Smith and Lance Archer with, like, Juice Robinson and Sammy Callahan. That way, Block A would be literally unwatchable, and Block B would be the greatest block of all time.
I can't tell you how much I really don't care about Killer Elite Squad. In fact, I'm actually actively not looking forward to the match for the tag titles at Wrestle Kingdom.
Is that going to be piss break?
Yeah, probably be my piss break.
Shit. Sorry,
I'm more excited for the 6-man tag, whatever they do with that.
Oh yeah, no shit, that's gonna be cool. And then Ishii and Yano, back as a team again. Your favorite team of all time.
My favorite team, the team that's gonna win the whole tournament. Actually,
who do you think is gonna win? That's the thing.
Well, I don't think. What we might see is like Killer Elite Squad maybe take a pin in the tournament, right? Someone wins in Block B. And then it's like a triple threat or some shit like that.
Right.
Like maybe it's like Yano Ishii versus because the problem is that they've done here is how do you get either War Machine aren't wrestling at Wrestle Kingdom, or you don't have Grills of Destiny in the tag title match, or you have I don't know what they're gonna do. It's very unpredictable.
Guerrilla tactics. Yeah, exactly. I don't... This is what happens when you have such stacked...
Goto and Yoshihashi to win.
Goto and Yoshihashi. Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see that. Definitely in that block, absolutely, because Goto's like probably them... Yeah. And then I could see Elgin and... Because, I mean, the thing is, like, at this point, like, Elgin has been so patient and Elgin is awesome. Elgin deserves a spot on the card, and not just in a meaningless match, because the guy's over.
Hey, he was on the card. He was on the card last year. It was called the New Japan Rumble.
Yeah, you're right.
You sounded very defeated about that.
Terry's back in the chat, boys. Terry Bennett in the chat. It's been a very quiet chat, but it's
been a stunned silence from the chat. It's
stunned silence. They just can't believe Jericho's back.
Back. Yeah, actually.
Yeah, he's back. He's back.
Technically,
You can't say that's wrong.
Imagine if you were like, if you watched his last match, and you're like, can't wait for Jericho to return to New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yeah.
I wonder how long it'll be.
Japanese smart. It's like, Super Liga.
Got very racist.
What? That wasn't a Japanese accent. That was a. I'm not gonna. Okay, I'm gonna keep digging myself into a bigger hole. But yeah, no, very very exciting stuff. I'm looking forward to it. This won't be the last time we. Holy shit! This all of a sudden got a bunch of dislikes. Oh well, fuck you to whoever disliked that, you stupid shitheads. But thank you very much.
Clearly, your fan base dislikes it when you do racial insults.
No, it wasn't because of that. It was because we're talking about New Japan. That's why. It's because we're talking about wrestling. I should be doing Crash Insane Trilogy. I can't believe it. You know.
Hey, can I tell you like, a bit of weird trivia? And this will be the what we go out on. I think we've reached our zenith of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Are you ready for this odd piece of trivia?
Mm-hmm.
Can you name me in which New Japan event did Daniel Bryan, Christopher Daniels, and
2003. 2003, right?
No, you're wrong.
2004?
No, it was New Japan Hyper Battle. Yes, New Japan Hyper Battle 2004.
That's right. I saw that free match thing posted.
And Scott Norton actually was beaten by Minoru Suzuki.
Bloody Revolution. Oh, wow. For the title?
By technical... No, it was just a single match.
Okay. Cool.
The title match was Kensuke Sasaki.
Oh, yeah, Sasuke. Yeah. Sasuke special.
Defeating Hiroyoshi Tenzan to win the title.
Wow. Okay.
In a match Meltzer gave 3.5 stars.
What was it, sorry? 3.5?
Wow.
Jesus.
It also had, American Dragon and Curryman defeating Gato and Jado to win the junior titles. And Toriano defeated Naofumi Yamamoto.
Who? No, just kidding.
I don't know who that is.
I wasn't kidding. But yeah, no, very, very cool. All right, so that about wraps it up. We'll be back before the end of the year, definitely talking about all this, because it's very exciting. When we get the full card, we'll do a full rundown. But for now, we will. Yeah, I mean, we'll be talking about it. We'll be doing like other live streams and stuff like that, like with the video game stuff. So I'm sure we'll be talking about any relevant updates there as well. You know, I'm looking forward to the whole Jericho stuff, you know, because that's the one bit of storytelling that can happen, you know, through social media and interviews and stuff, you know, because of the fact that he's not in Japan yet, so you can actually do a lot more, you know. So
definitely.
You know, he can do that American style build where, you know, they release videos and stuff, you know, because he can't be in Japan right now.
And will we see Jericho in person in New Japan Pro Wrestling before the year is out?
Ooh, that is a good question. I don't know. I don't know.
Will he make an appearance at one of the Road 2 shows?
I don't know if I want him to or not. You know? Like,
yeah.
Like, one thing is like the whole aura, but then the other thing's like, oh my god, that means he's going to be stuck. Because if he appears at a Road 2 show, I just, to me, it means he's got like 20 dates. You know? Yeah. Like, so it's, I don't know. We'll have to find out. But we will find out soon, definitely. I mean, it's just around the corner now. Like, shit's happening. Once Power Struggle's on, you know that shit's happening.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's less than 200 days. Less than 2 months to go before we get there.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
All right, excellent. Okay, I was just checking that. So thank you guys for everyone that tuned in, all few of you, and thanks to everyone that watched, video on demand. That's the best kind of demand. And we'll be back, don't worry. It's good to talk, and we'll see you soon.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.